Alrighty. Okay. It's another one of those. It's another one of those games, eh? Um, it's another one of those games. I'm going to pop my settings real quick. Pause. Get my chat up. Uh, it's just one of those games again. It's just disappointing. It's like one of those things where I'm not even mad. It's just again, I'm sad. This is a game which again was really important for us, and I highlighted that before the game. This was a game that was a chance for us to bounce back, a chance for us to start the new year well, and for the most part, we did play well. I'm not going to discredit the performance too much. There was a few individual performances that I think were not up to par. But overall, I think the team did play well. I think we were a little bit unlucky in some parts of the game, and I think that for the most part, it's just one area which I'll talk about. Don't worry, we'll get there. That kind of let us down today. And yeah, so we'll get into the points as ever. I've got my 7 points, and we'll get into the main bulk of the episode. But the thing which we do need to have a look at first is actually the bingo card. And I'm going to start this off with a bit of a positive note. Let's do the bingo card. I don't know how to do this because I've searched up how to do it, but it doesn't work for me. So we're going to see if this works. I'm going to flip over to the bingo card here. If we get a bingo here, I haven't looked at it yet. If we get a bingo here, I'm going to try and gift memberships on the channel. I tried doing it earlier and it didn't seem to work, so we'll see if that's possible. First of all, let's actually look at the bingo card and see what we got. Let's do red. Does that work? Yeah, okay, red. Excellent. So the first one on our list is, which I know we've ticked off immediately, is this Sanchez Rosette pass. Because we saw this towards the end of the game. I knew this would happen. He always has one of these. So we got one of those. Why are you there? Did we have an instance of this? I'm trying to think of whether we actually played a bit more of a standard like 4 at the back formation in this game. So we didn't really get to see Cuckoo playing in weird positions. So I think we could probably leave that. Maybe we'll add that. Former Chelsea player scores. No, we did not get that today. Academy product gets minutes. This one was actually a very big surprise because we get Chempong starting. We didn't expect him to start, so that's fun. Also, I've just noticed that the pen isn't actually aligned up with the cursor. That's weird. Palmer goals plus assist. We get this. Last week's scapegoat. We didn't really have that. Caicedo booked for a clean tackle. We didn't have that. James plays. Didn't have that. We didn't have a defense score. Jackson didn't get booked. Colwell got a little bit rowdy in this. I'm not gonna say. I'm going to tick it off. Basically, just for that challenge that he gets a bit of a harsh challenge after the penalty incident. Maresca ball in full flow. We didn't really get to see this today. VAR horror decision. We are going to get there. We're going to get to that point later in the episode. That's off. Enzo assist? No. No Pedro Neto. No Joao Felix. We do get to see this though. This Pedro Neto, no. This was for him going down and holding his face. Happened again. Winger to winger. This happened right at the end of the game. So that's a thing. We didn't get this. We did get to see Guiu play, which is nice. Grass is always greener. This is something that you guys can confirm. I don't know if you guys have been on Twitter or your social media. Did you see anyone saying in this game, "Oh, we shouldn't be playing Neto"? Am I upside down? God damn it! Why does it do this? There we go. I don't know if you guys saw this, but grass is always greener was for if one of our wingers was playing, for example, Neto or Madueke is the kind of the main one, main culprit of this. And that it's always that situation where when one plays, everyone on social media asks for the other one to play instead. And vice versa. I don't think I saw many people claiming that Madueke should have been starting, so I'm not going to do that. New Year, same Chelsea. This is a bit of a bad one. Oh, this is lagging. We got that. We've got a 4. Bob Marley chant. We didn't get this. So I added this late on. This wasn't in the pre-match stream. I didn't have this on here. And I added it afterwards because I realised I was like, oh yeah, this is the Palace away fixture. This is the same fixture that this started. Could we get free space? Um, yeah, I did find that a bit weird. I was like, Noni playing left wing rather than um, shifting Neto to that side and having him come on the right was a very weird thing. In fact, I'm actually going to count that as the free space because that was really weird. Someone claims they heard a Bob Marley chant. I'll tick it off. We didn't get a bingo, which is unfortunate. We'll have to keep a few of these on. What I'm going to try and do is I want to try and mix these up as much as I possibly can. So though there'll be a few that will stay for next week or whenever the next game is, some of the ones that I've ticked off today will be removed for the next fixture. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the actual the actual bulk of this. If I can get this to come to the front, that'd be nice. There we go. Let's talk about 7 points. Oh dear. Okay, so this is going to be a fun one. I usually start with the negatives and then move on to the goods because I want to finish this with a positive, and then of course we'll do our poll. The first thing on which I'm going to say, because we spoke about it briefly there, is just the man. Every fucking week it seems like we get just a horrific VAR problem. Last week against Ipswich it was Delap diving and getting a penalty. This week it is Pedro Neto getting clearly clipped by Gerhi and not giving it as a penalty. And if the thing which pisses me off, the reason why this annoys me, is not because that the penalty hasn't been given. It's because these are exactly the same situation, and if you give one, you must give the other. They're the exact same. So if you're giving one, in the Ipswich case being Liam Delap's dive, right? Like, why are you not giving this one when there's actually more contact in this one than there was on the Liam Delap one? And it's just, again, I said this in the Ipswich Feeling Blue, that this happened at a point in the game that was so devastating to us because the first one, the lap one, as I spoke about, that happened really early on in the game, and it gave Ipswich the platform to kind of sit back and counter-attack against us and play the way that they wanted and have that confidence, right? This would have absolutely killed the game. Palace would not have been able to get another goal. I guarantee if we be given this penalty, Palmer will 100% score it, obviously. If we get given this penalty, we do not draw this game. There's absolutely no way. There's absolutely no way we lose this game if that's awarded. And we are getting charged by the FA for not being able to control our players for surrounding referees, considering that Ipswich situation in the last game. And like, what the fuck do they expect us to do? What do they expect the players to feel when they're getting screwed out of points? They're getting absolutely screwed out of points. It's just ridiculous. This is 5 points gone out the window. It's 5 points gone. Because the referees can't do their fucking jobs, and they get paid a shit ton of money, you know. And there is no other profession. There is no other profession in this earth that you can make this many mistakes on a consistent basis and still keep your job. It's just ridiculous. It's just genuinely ridiculous. And it's annoying because it only happens to certain clubs. And it's really obvious that it only happens to certain clubs. Like Forest, it always happens to. Wolves, it always happens to. Us, it always happens to. There is clear biases in this league towards certain teams. And they absolutely hate it when teams like Chelsea, teams like City, again, because they're not traditional a big club. Pretty much anyone that isn't like the traditional kind of big three, in my opinion, gets screwed over really, really badly by these types of decisions. And it's just, again, I hate talking about it because I don't want to talk about referees. I wish I didn't have to know every single referee's name. I wish that I didn't have to, before every single football game that I watch my team, I have to search up who the referees are to make sure that we're not going to get fucked over. It's just incredible. It's just so annoying. I hate having to talk about it. And genuinely, at this point, I might as well just leave this in here for every single game. I'm not even going to bother removing this because I guarantee next week when we play, the same thing's going to happen. It's just incredible. But I'm getting that out of the way because I do want to talk about our team, and I do want to talk about the things that we did poorly. And I want to talk about I want to take accountability for that and not just blame everything on the refs. The first player I'm going to be putting in here he was going to get a medium. He was going to get a medium box before their goal went in, and that's for Malo Gusto. I think that in the first half he played pretty well. I will give him credit. I think he played pretty well in the first half. I think that he played utterly atrociously in the second half. which I was going to cancel out and say, hey, you go in the medium box. But again, switching off at the back again and again and again, and he keeps costing us goals. It's so frustrating, and it's just like, he did not seem like he could get a single thing right, and I don't know what's happened to him, because this is the thing which bugs me about Gusto, is that he is such a good player. We saw it last season. We saw he was giving us consistently 7 or 8 out of 10s every single week, and I don't know where that player has gone. I don't know where he's gone. He's just completely gone out the window, and it's not like he wasn't playing at right back today, because he was. I don't really get the point. It's really frustrating, because again, it's the switching off at the back. It's not dropping to Mark Eze in the center for one of their chances that Colwill eventually blocks. It's the completely ignoring Jackson's clear run through into the box on one of the counter attacks. It's the fact that he only puts in about two or three crosses whilst he's playing as an advanced fullback. It's so frustrating, because I don't want to pile on him, because I do bring him up quite a lot, but it's been such a fall off and such a cataclysmic dive into mediocrity that I can't help but point out. It's so sad to see a player that I admittedly really like. I love this guy. I just don't know where he's gone. He's completely disappeared. This is not Malo Gusto. And in fact, it's not Malo. We always say, oh, Malo Gusto. It's not even Malo Gusto anymore. It's just Malo. It's just bad. He's just bad now. He needs, and I'm going to talk about a player that can replace him in a second here, who's going to be getting in the good box. When we have got certain players that are going to be coming back recently, or soon, Gusto really needed to like step up in this game and say, you know what, I can actually hold down this position, and he really didn't do that today. But let's get on to the main issue. Let's get on to the main issue before I talk positively about some of our players, because I don't like being negative. And it's for the clinicality. And I've got a sword here because that's my kind of go-to. But where was it? Clinicality was completely gone from this game. Utterly gone. Can I rotate this a little bit? Go on, let me rotate that. There we go. Just because I don't want to have it covered. So people are going to rag onto Nicholas Jackson today. I understand that. Personally, I'm not going to do that, because I think that overall, I think he was pretty good. I think he missed a few chances. And yes, you can take that away from him, but I think the whole team was not clinical today. There was an excellent chance for Palmer, wasn't converted. Excellent chance for Josh, wasn't converted. Two couple of extra chances for Enzo, wasn't converted. And of course, Jackson didn't convert his. I don't think the team in general was very clinical today. I think that's just a matter of a lack of confidence, which when you do not win 3 games in a row, that tends to happen. I think overall, if I was going to actually put him in any of the boxes, I'm not going to be putting him in any of the boxes. I would put Jackson in medium, because I think that his overall game was good, but he was to his detriment, was not clinical enough today. I feel like, and again, it's frustrating to me, because I tweeted about this, is that he seems to always receive the ball in situations where he can't shoot properly, or like it's on his left foot, so he has to try and do the little Trivella finish, that type of thing. I do feel a little bit bad for him in that regard, because when he makes decent runs and is available to be picked up and have the ball on his right foot, a la this chance that I spoke about with Gusto, no one passes him the ball. It's really frustrating. I watch him all game because I love Jackson. And I watch his runs, and every time he runs down the right channel, he's never found. Anytime he runs down the left channel, he's found. It's really annoying, because if you get the ball onto his right foot, I feel like he scores more chances. It's just, again, I don't think any of the team were very clinical today, but he did need to step up a bit more. And when we are, especially when we're in a situation where we have been talking about bringing in different striker profiles, or we've been talking about possibly bringing in Samu or Duran or Liam Delap, for example, he really needed that confidence boost today, and you could tell from the way that he looked when he came off that he knew that he did not do himself justice today. And I think that, considering Guido got a chance today, and obviously I think that might have just been because it was his birthday, they were giving him a little bit of a rub that regard. With Guido coming in and being in good goal scoring form recently in the Conference League, it is a bit worrying that Jackson is kind of dropping off and not getting more pumped up and trying to get more goals. So I will say that. But overall, the team in general just really not clinical today. I think Josh, if Josh scores that header, that would have been so good. It would have been so nice. We would have been sitting here in such a good mood, but unfortunately we weren't. Let's talk about our goal scorer though, because Palmer is going into the medium box, and simply put, because I think he played well today. I'm not going to discredit him for that. I think he played well today. He got a goal contribution. Obviously, gets a goal. The reason why he's going in the medium box is simply because the second goal doesn't happen if he doesn't lose the ball. Yeah, exactly. That is such a good way of putting it, and genuinely, that's how I would like to end this. Good performance, bad moment. Absolutely, because that's the reason why it's cancelled out and he's gone into the medium, because I'm going to put him as far over towards the good box as possible, because he was really good today. And he was receiving the ball in the lines, he was playing the passes through, obviously scored the goal, tidy finish from him, but just that split moment that ruins it, and it's just frustrating, because it's just like, oh, you were playing so well the whole game, and then you just lose the ball in midfield. And that moment kind of sums up our game today, really. I feel like, for the most part, we kind of just were trying to be a bit too fancy at times, trying to, instead of playing the simple pass or doing the 1-2 touch passing that Enzo Maresca kind of asks for, we were seeing more like flicks and more little trickery things and a bit more panache than we really needed. Yeah, it's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I get it, because Palmer has got that technical ability. He's got the ability to do that and pick up the ball in those situations and get the ball past someone. We see it time and time and again with him picking up the ball under pressure and knocking it past his player before running up the pitch, but didn't work out today. As I said, just a bad moment, but overall a really good performance. In fact, I think this is actually a little bit harsh for me to put him in here, but there we go. Let's talk about some good things though. And the first man who's going to go in here is a player that I've been talking about for the last few games and saying he's been putting in consistent performances time and time again, and he didn't really stand out to me because he's been doing it so consistently. This time, I think he was so good that he deserves to be recognised, and it's Moises Caicedo. He was everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere today, and I think that genuinely without him we could have been losing this game if he's not playing. I don't know where he gets the energy from. I genuinely don't. I sit there and I watch him and I'm like, how do you play this way for 90 minutes every single game, every single week, without fail, with no rest, and not get injured, and still put up this level of performance every single week? I do not understand it. He's a phenom. He's an absolute phenom. I genuinely, they need to figure out how to clone his genes and then inject them into Wesley Fofana and inject them into Reece James and just be like, live, please, stay fit, please. Because he's just, again, I say it every time I put him in a good box. I run out of superlatives for this guy. He can pass, he can dribble, he can tackle, he can intercept, he can head the ball. His aerial ability is really understated. I think a lot of people don't give him credit for that. And he can strike the ball from the halfway line and score. I think that he's just like, again, I feel a bit sorry for him because he's having to put in so much work because Lavia's not fit. And I do want to mention Enzo. I haven't actually got him in one of the boxes today, but I think Enzo was also decent. I think he was trying his best to put in a shift and take some of the load off of Caicedo today, but again, just a phenomenal performance from him. And I always say he gets a 7 or 8 out of 10 every week. This was a 9 for me, 9 or 10. Next player I'm going to be talking about is a player that no one, I think, actually expected to play today. And that is for the very young Josh Kofi-Chempong. Really, really solid game for him today. And again, despite us not keeping the clean sheet, I don't think that's on him. It doesn't go down his side particularly. I think he might actually be the player that steps out. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'll have to watch it back. But in general, very, very calm on the ball. I was impressed by his ability to not only be able to make the incisive pass and make the line breaking passes, which he did do today. Not only did he know when to step forward and kind of beat the press and kind of step into midfield to be able to then retain possession, but he also knew when not to do that and when to kind of keep the ball ticking, just play it back to Sanchez and keep things safe. And for a young player that's literally playing his first ever start in the Premier League, it was very, very vital for him, I think, to have what I would call a safe performance. I think that he had a very, very safe performance. He didn't make too many mistakes. In fact, playing up against one of the more, I would like to say, one of the more frustrating strikers in the league for a centre-back, in Mateta, who is obviously 6'4", massive, very quick, very tidy with his feet, phenomenal player, and obviously he does get his goal eventually at the end. I think he did pretty well up against him, to be fair, and especially considering, yes, he is a he has the profile to play at centre back. I don't think it's his more natural position. I would like to see him play more as that right back. And as I was kind of talking about with Gusto, I think that if we played with Tosin in the centre and a Champong at the right back spot, I think we would have done better today, if only a little. And yeah, I think he was really, really comfortable today. And I think that's for a young player making your first start in the team. That's the type of performance I want to see. Just that kind of not being trying to be too impressive, but just being steady. And I would give him a 7 or 8 out of 10, like I usually give Caicedo today. I think he was really, really good. And hopefully Enzo has seen this performance and gone, you know what, you're playing now. You're in the first 11 because we really, really need him. See, I think that's the thing. It's like I think you got people are going to debate between playing Josh and playing Tosin. I think they can play together. I think that it's one of those annoying situations that we have is that because Colwill is so good at being that central centre back that we don't really want to push him out to the left, even though he can play there. And I feel that when Tosin plays, he kind of has to play in the centre because he can't play out wide very well. I think our best option would be to play. Obviously, our best option would be to play Badiashile, but he's injured. To play a left footer on the left side, play Tosin in the middle, and play Josh as the right centre back, and then have Cuckoo doing his number 10 inverting malarkey up and down the pitch. I think that would probably be our best option. But yeah, again, solid performance from Josh today, and yeah, long may it continue. I hope he gets more opportunities because he proved that he deserves it today, and it wasn't just an olive branch per se, or a gift that he was put in the 11. He actually earned his place, and he proved that he deserved to be in the team today. The last player that's going in here, and I've left him to last because I think he was the best player on the pitch by an absolute mile, Jadon Sancho. That assist is otherworldly, but it's not just his assist. It's not just his tenacity today to kind of always be looking forward. The thing which I really want to highlight is two things about his performance today: is the ability to try and play the ball into the box as quickly as possible. He was trying his best to play the ball through at pretty much every opportunity. He wasn't always going to say, hey, I'm going to dribble inside and try and shoot, which we know he can do. He wasn't always saying, hey, I'm going to go around the outside and try and put the ball across. He was trying to size up the player and play the ball in these kind of intricate little pockets, as it were, into the space where Palmer would roam, or Enzo would roam, or Cucurella would get to in the box. And that's something that we don't have a lot of, is that kind of... a lot of our play goes around the box, and it's like we pass up to one of our wingers, and then it goes around, and then we pass up to one of our wingers, and it goes around. He was the one player today that was trying to say, hey, stop this malarkey, we're not playing it into you, we're going to go into the box, and he kept playing it that way. The second thing I want to talk about is his absolute work rate today, because we always get told by salty Manchester United fans that Jadon Sancho is a lazy player, he's not good in training, he never runs. He was playing as a left wing back today. Genuinely playing as a left wing back. He was always covering for Cucurella. That lung bursting kind of run all the way back at he made a run about 60 meters down the pitch to recover a ball and get a tackle and get us going forward. He made one mistake on the edge of the box today. I think that's going to happen. You're going to make a couple. Utterly phenomenal. But then again, yeah, the assist is just nuts. The assist is absolutely nuts. Yeah, the thing is, right, I've put Maresca in the bad box for a few games because of the decisions he was making in terms of substitutions. Today, I'm not going to be doing that because I think that the team that we had out on the pitch was the best chance we would have got to score. I think the only game, or the only kind of player you could really put on to actually try and rescue, or like to win the game, but at that point when we were kind of already ahead to secure the game, I think the only thing you could have done is put Guillou on. I don't think anyone else on the bench really gave us the platform to kind of defend a lead. If you're going to bring on, for example, you bring on Felix, he's probably going to try and do trickery in the middle, but he's not going to help you like secure the lead. We don't have any defensive players on the bench really to kind of help us not lose or not concede the goal. And it's just one of those things where if we have like Lavia, for example, if James is more fit to play, if we have Wes, if we have Badiashile, we can make those defensive like changes and actually solidify this result. But you can't really do that. Again, I do think, as I mentioned earlier, I think Noni coming on the left wing is a bit nonsensical, but I'm not going to blame Maresca too much today because, let's be honest, he coached a good performance today, but our team, as I said earlier, just weren't clinical enough to win the game. Let's run the poll. As I said, I do find the Madueke thing really, really weird. I'm not really sure why that happened. Um, maybe it's just because Neto was doing well up against Gurhi. Maybe. Uh, how do I do this again? There we go. God, it's been a while. Um, we're gonna vote for our true blue. So, I'll put the three players that are in the good box in here. I might for a joke. For a joke. I was about to put the referees in there, but I will not do that. And then Sancho. Boom. So you guys vote for your thing. I haven't got a I haven't got a coffee today. I usually have a coffee, and I don't have one. So now I'm gonna have to sit here and do nothing. But yeah, I can actually what I can do is check for the next game. Because I forgot to do that, and I always do forget to do that because I'm not very smart. But there we go. Our next game is actually in the FA Cup against Morecambe, which is interesting because we're going to be doing some rotation, and then obviously the game after that is Bournemouth, which will be fun. The games coming up are all kind of nasty fixtures. We've had quite a run against these kind of stubborn, annoying teams, but we should be able to beat Morecambe. Hopefully we'll kind of see the Conference League team play in that game, and that might be why Guiu played today. Shrimp FC, yeah. That might be why Guiu played today instead of Nkunku. I wonder if we're going to start Nkunku in that game at the 9 spot, and that's kind of why he's not played today. He's been rested. I'm trying to think who else would. But George would probably be starting as well, which would explain why he wasn't on the bench today. Felix will probably play. The thing which is Vega will probably play, which is again another reason why he probably didn't come on. I'm trying to think of we don't really have a lot of defenders at this point. Do I think that Chelsea could or should go in the market for someone? I do. I think there's a few core positions that we're kind of lacking in, and it's always the same positions every single time. I always say I don't think that we need to get a starting striker, because loads of people will say that. Everyone will say, oh, we need to get Osimhen or Gyökeres, or just that debate can just go out. I think we need to get a different type of striker, a different profile to the ones we have. And I think this performance, Enzo is kind of again, I've been highlighting this over the last few games. I think that Enzo Maresca has kind of been saying to the board with him selecting Nkunku that hey, we don't have a 9 that's going to affect things off the bench. Can you please give me one, type of thing. I really expect that we will try and go in for a third striker that is a bit of a weird profile, a bit of a different profile, like a Samu, like a Delap, that type of player that's a bit different and a bit more of a target in the box. Because Jackson, even though he's quite tall, he's never been a big aerial threat. He's much better at dropping deep and facilitating play and actually getting on the ball rather than being on the end of things. Yeah, like you've just said, a Giroud type player would be lovely. I don't really know I can't really think of any other than Samu off the top of my head that would be good in that kind of position. I'm not going to entertain talk of Osimhen. I don't think he's good enough personally. Duran again, yeah, Duran again. The reason why I would love to get Duran is not just because obviously we've been linked to him in the past. The reason why I would go for him is because of how good he is off of the bench. That genuinely, you get those types of players that are just phenomenal at coming into a game and changing things, and he's one of those players where I think, and again, he's a left-footed striker as well, which is a bit of a different profile to what we have because all of our strikers are right-footed. It's one of those things where he just comes off the bench and just goes, you know what, I'm going to shoot from 30 yards. If it goes in, it goes in. And I love that. I don't think Delap would get in over Nico. I really don't. I think that's a bit silly. I do think that what I would say, I think he would get in over Nico for certain games where you need a striker that's going to be a bit more of a kind of a bit more of like I kind of said earlier, like Mateta, who are one of those players that's just really annoying for defenders or centre backs specifically to kind of deal with. And I've always said this. My favourite striker in recent history for Chelsea has always been Diego Costa. But not because of the way that he scored loads of goals, but just because of the way that he just pissed people off. And we don't have a striker that does that. I love having a player that just runs at centre backs and just makes them annoyed. Like that's the best way to make force mistakes out of defenders is just to make them annoyed. Um, so that's basically I'd go for that. We've brought Anselmino back, so I'm not sure if we'd have to go in for a centre back. A cover for centre back would be good if we sell one. Obviously, there's been talk about Badiashile possibly leaving AC Milan. There's been talk about Disasi possibly being sold. If we sold one of those, I would bring in another centre back. I don't know who we would go for. Maybe who's the bloke from Bournemouth that everyone's talking about right now? What's his name? Huijsen? Is he Dean Huijsen? Seen him. I think he's quite decent. Otherwise, I think the main area that we actually need reinforcement in is centre mid, and we have a perfect player to do that. And that's Andre Santos. But obviously, I don't think we disrupt his loan because he's doing so well there. I would recall him. I would recall either him or Leslie, but Leslie has started to get into the Southampton team now, where he was kind of dropped for a few games. He's actually getting back into the team, so I don't know if I'd want to disrupt his loan too, which is kind of frustrating. But yeah, that's the kind of only area I would kind of reinforce because, again, I think that Caicedo just needs a break. He needs a break at some point. Cassidy, that's the thing, right? Cassidy is a player that I'd love to see play more, but the problem is he's the role that he's been finding himself in isn't the one that he's good at, in my opinion. I think he's so much better as a box threat, and he's so much better as a goal scoring midfielder and like a late box runner or like a box, as the way that Twitter Tacticos would refer to as a box crasher. I'm not going to do that. That's disgusting. But but I feel like he would be good there. But we need another player that's going to play like in the Caicedo Lavia role because obviously Lavia's not consistent enough with his injury record, and Caicedo is just, despite being great, he's going to get knackered at some point. If Cassidy goes big, let's come back. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Let's see what the result of the poll is, real quick, because I completely forgot. Okay, Sancho has won. I expected as much. I expected as much. Sancho has won. He goes in for the True Blue today. I'm in the way. I didn't move my camera. I meant to do this before I switched to the screen. There we go. Yeah, we do have Vega to play DM, but again, he's one of those players that he rotates in for the conference games. But I meant like we need a player that can come on in the middle of a game and replace Caicedo after, or like come in to support Caicedo next to him and take off Enzo like Lavia can, because this is another one of those games where like Caicedo is the sole midfielder, right? We basically have him doing all the defensive work and everyone else up the pitch, and he can't sustain that. I mean, he probably can. He's a machine, but I personally would not like to see him sustain that. And it was one of those things where if we possibly have the extra man back, because this is the thing, we always spoke about Enzo Maresca's system and how he always liked to have 5 in attack and five back with obviously the goalkeeper as well. Where you keep the 5 players back so you can't get hit in transition. That's the whole idea. The way that we've been playing is with 4 back and 6 up top, with Enzo obviously pushing a bit higher, and it leads to things like what just happened, where we lose the ball in transition and then we get broken on and we don't have enough defenders to get back and stop the counter attack. But there we go. Yeah, good thing that we have Kante without injuries. Generally, this is the thing. Like, I love N'Golo, and obviously he's a legend of the club. If Caicedo keeps playing the way he's playing for the amount of time that Kante was playing for us, and he wins the trophies, genuinely think he surpasses his legacy very, very easily. Because I think he has the potential to be a better player, in my opinion. He has more tools than Kante had. Though I to this day I'm still waiting for Caicedo to pull off one of those like classic N'Golo Conte dribble past Manchester United goals. That'd be great. We could have that at some point. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. As ever, I'll be back to do more coverage on the Morecambe game, obviously, and then the Bournemouth game after that. I'm actually going to be doing my my new series on this game. I believe I'll probably get to doing that, which will be fun. We'll see how people react to that. So yeah, hopefully we can have some fun with that. But yeah, enjoy your evenings, guys. I'm gonna try and keep a bit more positive than I think a lot of people will be today. I'm going to avoid Twitter because it's going to be a cesspool, and I don't want to get negative today. I'm not in the mood for it. So there we go. as I said, thank you guys for hanging out. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.